If you've been online at all recently, chances are you've seen it. This little mischievous, big-eared, fuzzy creature called Labubu. This toy has absolutely blown up, sparking a global collecting craze. And the company behind it, Pop Mart, has seen its value just skyrocket. But that kind of explosive growth, well, it gets investors talking, and they're asking one huge question.
Right? Behind that cute face, there is a massive, high-stakes debate going on. Is Pop Mart actually building the next great entertainment empire? The next Disney? Or is this whole thing a speculative bubble that's just about to burst? The answer here could literally be worth billions. Okay, so first things first, let's just get a sense of the scale here. The Labubu craze isn't just big, it's like a tidal wave of consumer demand. And it's all powered by a very specific and honestly a very clever business model. Pop Mart's secret weapon is the blind box. It's all about the thrill of the unknown, right? The hunt for those super rare characters. It is a powerful, powerful engine for repeat sales. It completely transforms a simple purchase into this emotional experience, and that's how you create an army of dedicated collectors. And here is a really key piece of the puzzle for anyone looking at this company. Who is actually doing the buying? Well, while Pop Mart is aiming for a pretty broad audience, its core customer base is overwhelmingly female. And for its star, Labubu, that skew is even more dramatic. We're talking nearly 9 out of 10 buyers are women. So with all that in mind, let's put on our optimist hats for a minute. Let's look at the bull case, the argument that Pop Mart is not just a fad, but a company that's building a durable, long-term business. The bulls are pointing to some really powerful advantages. That blind box model we just talked about is a big one. But they also sell directly to consumers. That means they keep all the profit and, this is crucial, they get all the customer data. They're also expanding like crazy all over the world, and because they already have stores and a known brand, launching the next hit toy is way cheaper and less risky. Oh, and yeah, there's a movie in the works. And just look at this chart to see the scale of the opportunity. In China, Pop Mart is already a giant, with a projected 66 million customers. But internationally, they're really just getting started. That 38 million number is what investors call a white space opportunity. Basically, a massive, untapped market with just huge potential for growth. Okay, but for every bull, there's always a bear. And the bears are looking at this explosive growth with let's say a healthy dose of skepticism. And they're pointing to history as a pretty serious cautionary tale. So this is where the two sides really clash. The bull sees a unique company with a clear path to global domination. The bear sees a company that is dangerously dependent on a single hit character, walking a path that many, many others have walked before, right off a cliff. Remember Beanie Babies? Yeah, that comparison is a powerful one. Cultural phenomena, whether it's toys or blockbuster movies, they tend to follow a very similar life cycle. A super rapid rise, a feverish peak, and then an inevitable decline as the novelty wears off and, consumers just move on. And that decline brings financial pressure. Once that organic word-of-mouth hype fades, the company has to start paying for marketing to keep the momentum going. At the exact same time, expanding into new countries is super expensive. So that combination of rising costs and slowing growth can squeeze profits fast. All right, so we've heard the arguments, but what does the data actually say? Let's dig into the numbers and see what they tell us. This is really the question at the heart of the whole bear case. Is Pop Mart truly a diversified platform of beloved characters, or is it just the house that Labubu built? Well, the numbers are pretty darn clear. The Monsters franchise, which, let's be honest, is overwhelmingly driven by Labubu, accounts for a massive 35% of all revenue. To put that into perspective, the next biggest character, Molly, is just a tiny fraction of that. This is what investors call concentration risk. And skeptics argue this concentration is actually even worse than it looks because of something called the halo effect. The theory is that Labubu is so popular it's pulling everyone else up with it. People go to a Pop Mart store to find a Labubu. If it's sold out, okay, they'll buy a Molly or a Skull Panda instead. Their success isn't really their own, it's borrowed from Labubu. And creating another blockbuster? Another Labubu? It is incredibly difficult. For every one hit, there are dozens, if not hundreds of misses. The odds of Pop Mart catching lightning in a bottle a second time are statistically very, very low. Some would even say the odds for toys are even lower than for movies. And we might be seeing the first cracks in the foundation. If you look at the speculative resale markets, where all the collectors and flippers trade rare toys, things are starting to cool off. In China, the number of sales is dropping. And in the US, resale prices are actually falling. Historically, this is often a leading indicator, a sign that mainstream demand is about to soften.
So what does this all boil down to? It's a race. It's a race between Pop Mart's huge ambitions and the natural life cycle of its biggest star.
Remember that movie the Bulls were so excited about? Well, even a massive billion-dollar hit doesn't guarantee a massive payday for the toy company. I mean, look at the Barbie movie. Mattel's total takeaway was about $125 million. The real value for them isn't the box office. It's using the film as a giant commercial to sell more toys and keep the brand relevant.
And that brings us right back to the single most important question. This is the entire debate in a nutshell. Can the company use the time and the money that Labubu is generating right now to build a stable of other hit characters? Can they diversify before their star inevitably starts to fade?
Ultimately, investors are betting on one of two futures. Is Pop Mart on the path to becoming the next Disney, a true intellectual property giant with a multi-generational empire of beloved characters? Or is it just the next Beanie Babies, a spectacular but short-lived phenomenon whose bubble is about to pop? The next year could very well give us the answer.